Welcome to PMP Exam Mindset, where we talk about all things PMP across the 35 tasks. Today, we're going into day 26, and it's task 12. It states, manage project artifacts. Da Vinci says simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. As you manage artifacts, I often tell people you got to keep it simple, because in some organizations, they get sidetracked by number of artifacts as opposed to the effectiveness. In our book PMP Exam Immersion, we discuss the management of project artifacts, documents, plans, reports, other records that are generated during the project. And it focuses on organizing, maintaining, and ensuring that these artifacts are accessible and useful for decision making and project tracking. Now, when I say artifacts, what comes to your mind? I'm curious. If you're thinking about plans, baselines, configuration, documentation, if you're thinking about drawings, then you're on the right track. Those are the kind of things we're talking about. In the world of Agile, we also have artifacts. There are three in the world of Scrum. There's the product backlog, the sprint backlog, and the increment. In Agile, it's all about maintaining simplicity and relevance. When we talk about the world of Scrum in particular, that's where we talk about the product backlog, the sprint backlog, but in general Agile, it might be called iteration backlog. And then you have burn down charts and many other artifacts. And those are updated regularly to reflect the current state of the project. Let's move into another section here. Let's go into the world of the true and false questions. Because whenever we meet, we do these true or falses just to get you into that mind space before we look at our question for the day. So, true or false, in Agile, extensive documentation is always preferred over working software. The answer is false. The Agile Manifesto values working software over comprehensive documentation. While documentation is necessary, Agile prioritizes delivering functional increments over exhaustive paperwork. Artifacts should be lean, relevant, and just enough to support the team's work. Number 2, Agile artifact management requires frequent updates to reflect the current project state. Well, think about it. You're in an Agile environment, and as you're working, things change rapidly, and that's why you have velocity charts showing you by the day breakdowns, which is different from the world of traditional mostly. Agile artifacts like the product backlog, sprint backlog, burn down charts, they are dynamic and require frequent updates. This ensures they accurately reflect the current state of the project progress and priorities, providing transparency and enabling informed decisions. Number 3, true or false, burn down charts are not a common artifact in Agile project management. Well, this is false because we use burn down charts a lot in the world of Agile. We value this particular artifact in our project management of an Agile nature, especially in Scrum. Now, while it's not a mandatory part of Scrum, you have a lot of Scrum teams that use this. They visually track the remaining work in a sprint or project over time, and they provide quick overview of progress and help in identify potential issues. Number 4, true or false, Agile projects keep all artifacts indefinitely, regardless of their current relevance. But when you think about it, your product backlog, your sprint backlog, those will go away, won't they? So Agile promotes simplicity. It's not about keeping stacks and stacks of sprint backlogs or product backlogs. That's not to say that these days tools cannot store that information, but that's not our default. Artifacts should be maintained only as long as they provide value. Obsolete or irrelevant artifacts are typically archived or discarded to avoid clutter and maintain focus on current work. Number 5, simplicity in artifact management is a key principle in Agile. And the answer is, of course, true. We want to keep things as simple as possible. Simplicity is core in Agile, and this applies to artifact management where the focus is on creating and maintaining only those artifacts that are truly necessary and provide clear value, avoiding unnecessary complexity and overhead. So, my friends, that is it for our first section here, taking a look at the true or falses and the overarching plan. Why don't we go into our question for today? A question for today, again, We're going into the world of artifacts, and it reads, in a complex project with multiple iterations and extensive documentation, the project team is struggling to locate the latest versions of key design documents, requirements, specifications, and test plans. This is causing confusion and rework. What is the project manager's most effective action to manage project artifacts and ensure their accessibility and accuracy? Is it A, mandate the use of a single centralized document repository and implement strict version control protocols, providing training to the team on proper document management practices? Is it B, assign a dedicated document controller to manage all project artifacts, centralizing responsibility and reducing the burden of individual team members? Or is it C, collaborate with team members and stakeholders to conduct regular audits of project documentation to identify missing or outdated artifacts and then manually correct or update them as needed? Or is it D, encourage team members to maintain their own local copies of frequently used documents, ensuring quick access and personal efficiency? So I'll give you some time to think about the answer and choose the right one. All right, our time is just about rounded up now. Let us discontinue and let's think about the logic. So what is the problem here? They're struggling to locate latest versions of key documents and other things. It's causing confusion and rework. So let's start from the beginning. Should you encourage team members to maintain their own local copies? No, you need to work together, right? Because one person could be making an update and someone wants it immediately after. So you don't want multiple copies flying all over the place. So it's just best to have one copy. So D is not a very good solution. C, collaborate with team members and stakeholders to conduct regular audits of project documentation to identify missing or outdated artifacts and then manually correct or update them as needed. So the problem here, again, is the team is struggling to locate these latest versions and it's causing rework. That's the major problem. If the team is able to overcome that challenge, they're going to be good. So collaborating with team members, stakeholders, regular audits, what does that do? How does the audit help? Right? Even though regular audits are good, but this will not solve the problem right now. We need something that can solve the problem right now. So I wouldn't choose B. I wouldn't choose C. Let's go to B. Assign a dedicated document controller to manage all project artifacts, centralizing responsibility and reducing the burden on individual team members. This is, again, not the best way to proceed. So managing all artifacts through one person could actually lead to more confusion, because when these team members need these documents, like immediately, their hands are tied. That's not very efficient. So let's take a look at A. Mandate the use of a single centralized document repository and implement strict version control protocols. And it's okay to have version control. Version control is definitely needed. Providing training to the team on proper document management practices. So it seems like what the team is lacking is that exposure to know, where do I go for this? How do I access it? What are the practices? That's what it is. And as a result of them not able to pull the latest versions, it's causing confusion and rework, because they're probably basing their planning at their task level on something that is not even relevant. So the best and most effective action here is to get on top of this, ensure that there's a single centralized repository. And yes, there does have to be strict control, but you're going to provide training on proper document management. All the other options, they're either reactive, like a dedicated controller is not going to help people get what they want. to have to go through this person is probably going to end up being frustrating. C, regular audits doesn't take away the now. You're talking about the future. What about the now? And D, encourage team members to maintain their own local copies. That is just a throwaway option. All right, so let's take a look. The answer to this is A. The answer to that question was A, and the rationale: to address issues with locating and ensuring accuracy of project artifacts, the project manager should implement a robust system. Mandating a centralized repository with strict version control and providing training ensures that all team members access the correct latest versions, reducing confusion and rework. Other options are less systematic or can exacerbate the problem. All right, my friends, to round up, let's get into the mindset pretty quick. Task 12, manage project artifacts. Number 1, determine the requirements for those artifacts. The 5 W's: what, when, where, who, why, and how. The 5 W's and the H, know it, regarding the artifacts. It helps guide your thinking. Validate that the project information is kept up to date. In other words, version control, and accessible to all stakeholders. And finally, continually assess the effectiveness of the management of the project artifacts. Right? The artifacts are in your jurisdiction. That's why they call project artifacts. You got to take care of those artifacts. You got to continually assess the effectiveness. And if they're not working, if they're not adding value to the team, well, you very well should have a discussion about that, right? So the effectiveness, don't use artifacts just because it exists. Use artifacts because it adds value to the team. And that pretty much is the mindset for managed project artifacts, my friends. I hope you found this useful. Remember, I have training at tinyurl.com/elite PMP. Or if you're taking the CAPM, just replace that /CAPM, elite CAPM, and you'll be able to access the course. All right, my friends, all the very best. Speak to you soon, and bye for now.